Arc Raiders is hands down one of the best extract shooters I've ever played, and that's coming from someone who's put in a good few thousand hours into a number of games across the genre. Arc Raiders isn't overcomplicated, it's extremely friendly to people who work 9 to 5, its PvPvE balance is surprisingly good, and it's fun and accessible to both newcomers and veterans of the genre. But as fun and simple as this game is, it still does have a fairly steep learning curve that some people may struggle with more than others, but that's why we're here today. After putting some 100 hours into the game, I'm bringing you guys the top things I wish I knew when I first started playing Arc Raiders. This is going to range from small features that you shouldn't forget about to huge in-raid tips that could make or break your run. Even if you're not brand new to the game, I guarantee that you'll learn something new from what I'm sharing today. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. First off, we'll be talking about stuff that can be done in the hub. First and foremost is to always track your workstation upgrades. It's extremely important to upgrade them, and you're going to need a lot of seemingly random things for these upgrades. Having them marked in raid as, hey, you need this, helps a lot, especially for a new player learning what loot is for what. Arc Raiders has a huge emphasis on crafting stuff instead of buying them, so these workstations will be your go-to for gearing up. And speaking of important loot, take a picture on your phone of this screen right now. This is a list of all items you'll need for all your workbench upgrades, so make sure to collect these as you find them. I will say that some of these items are a lot easier to find than others as long as you know where to look. These items are the ones I highly recommend keeping and holding on to as you find them, as in my experience they're harder to find than everything else. If you're after a specific item, make sure to go check out the loot POIs that have the respective loot type listed under both the item you're after and the outlined POI on the map. Also, I highly suggest upgrading your refiner first, as it lets you craft a good chunk of the other materials you need once it's high enough level. Outside of this list, every other piece of loot is safe to sell, recycle, or craft with depending on your needs. If you want a more detailed breakdown of what you should be keeping, using, or selling, you can check out my loot guide video, which breaks down what you should be looting for the early game, mid game, and late game stages of Arc Raiders, so you don't end up running into constant stash space issues. Weekly trials are unlocked at level 15 and are sort of a ranked system that gives rewards for doing some objective in one raid. Even if you don't care about the ranked stuff, you should try to make at least some progress on each trial every week, as you're rewarded with some decent stuff for every tier you hit, such as useful crafting materials or even blueprints. Make sure to take advantage of the double trials points from the time-limited map events such as night raids. Don't stress too much about the story quests, as the rewards currently are not that great. The questline doesn't actually unlock anything aside from a few useful blueprints from the early quests like jolt mines and trigger nades, which you can still randomly find as you explore. If you start getting annoyed that you can't finish a quest for one reason or another, just don't do it. You're not missing out on much. Don't mess up your skill tree. I cannot stress this enough, as currently there is no way to redo your skill points unless you decide to reset your account via Expedition Project. Make sure to take the time to look over the skill tree to see what perks you want, and most importantly, don't get baited by how good the mobility tree sounds. Cheaper and farther dodge rolls sound amazing until you realize that once it's maxed, it's only about a 5% stamina reduction for normal dodges and only a half-meter extension for your sprint dodge roll. Unfortunately, a lot of perks are like this and sound good on paper but are terrible in practice. So if you want to save yourself a huge headache on researching which skills are good or not, you can check out my skill tree video, which has what is arguably the best skill tree leveling path, as well as a full tier list breakdown of all the current skills. If you need money, the best early farm in my opinion is to just hunt down wasps and hornets. It's simple and straightforward, requires no loot knowledge, they're abundant on every map, and are easy to take down even with a free kit. Each driver sells for 1 or 2 grand depending on the arc, which is more than enough to take care of your first few stash upgrades. If drone hunting isn't your thing, just looting trinkets or blue and purple items to bring back to sell is another decent option. I highly recommend saving all your money for stash upgrades until you max it out. After that, start buying out important items daily from traders such as hatch keys, various throwables, shields, healing, and etc. And arguably just as important as money, make sure to make use of your seeds. Scrappy the Chicken brings you back seeds after every raid, which can be traded with Celeste for various topside crafting materials. Next, let's talk about your gear. At the very minimum, you need to bring your phone, wallet, and keys into every raid, aka your bare essentials. This consists of a weapon, ammo, an augment, a shield, a stack of shield chargers, and a stack of bandages. Past that, you can bring optional supplemental quick use items such as explosives, smoke grenades, or zip lines to your preference. Bring the right loadout augment for the purpose of your raid. If you're going in looking for violence, you should be packing at least a medium shield with an augment to match. If you're just going in for loot and are generally avoiding all fighting, then bring a looter augment to maximize your haul at the cost of being made of paper mache. Leveling your weapons makes a huge difference. I've lost count of how many times I've barely won a fight and the enemy only had a level 1 weapon compared to my level 3 or 4. If they had just upgraded that weapon one more time to get that extra fire rate increase, recoil reduction, or faster reload speed, they probably would have landed that one extra shot that they needed to change the outcome of that fight. I highly suggest always bringing at the minimum a level 2 weapon and ideally a level 3 weapon into your raids. And on the note of weapons, higher rarity doesn't always mean a better weapon. For instance, a Pharaoh is a lot better than a Patina, and a Stitcher remains the CQB king, only second to the extremely rare and expensive Bobcat. Or at least they are in my opinion. Both gray weapons are obviously cheaper to make and upgrade than their purple counterparts and put in just as much work, if not more. And don't be afraid to bring 2 weapons to cover both long and short ranges. Having a Pharaoh to cover long range and a Stitcher to cover close range makes you a huge threat regardless of distance. The last area we'll talk about is in-raid stuff. Now, this piece of advice will probably get you up in arms, but as an extract shooter veteran, I cannot stress this one enough. Always follow rule number 1 of extract shooters: trust no one. Yes, I know Arc Raiders community is exponentially nicer than literally any other shooter games community, but that doesn't mean everyone's a saint. Every now and then you'll have some happy moments of making friends with a random, but at the end of the day, this is a PvPvE extract shooter, and there's nothing stopping someone from trying to fight you for the things in your bag. If you want to avoid conflict, you should be completely avoiding people instead of revealing yourself and screaming out to please not shoot. Giving away your position to ask someone to be nice is the best way to become a piñata for someone who plays the game normally. Audio and visual cues will give you so much information. Nearby gunfire, angry arcs, breaching sounds, security alarms, dead arcs or players, you name it. Everything will reveal some sort of useful information to you as long as you listen and look for it, and you can leverage this information to either avoid conflict or help you win a fight. You can get essentially infinite stamina when running from place to place by sliding everywhere. Start sprinting and slide as soon as you hear 2 footsteps. Rinse and repeat for essentially infinite stamina as long as you're not going uphill. Make use of your dodges. Regular dodges are a bit lacking, but sprint dodges can really help in a fight even though they have a hefty stamina cost. Even if you don't plan on spamming them mid-fight to be an obnoxious target to hit, simply sprint dodging into cover can help you avoid a bullet or 2 and may save your life. You can farm EXP for those early level skill points just by looting everything possible. The first time you open a container, you'll get some EXP, even if a container was already looted. Every arc has a weakness. Some are obvious, like the propellers of drone arcs. Some are a little less noticeable, such as the yellow canisters on the rear of bastions, bombardiers, and rocketeers, or the yellow leg joints of the first 2. And others only have weak spots that need to be revealed by tearing off a layer of armor, such as the Leaper's center core. If you find yourself wanting to run more consumables than you can equip, simply pack them and store them in the upper right of your inventory and hot swap them in as you need. Results may vary for controller players. Different types of healing can stack. You can use an herbal bandage and a Vita spray or shot while the bandage heals, or use a regular shield charger and a surge shield charger right after for the same effect. This lets you queue up your healing to get back into the fight almost twice as fast and is extremely useful if you play in teams where there's someone who can cover you. If your team heals up faster and re-engages before the enemy is ready, then that's just a free win. If you need to bring back a quest item, you can actually stash it in your safe pocket and you can still turn it in for the quest should you die. The only exception is if you need to grab multiple quest items in the same raid, which will require you to have multiple safe pockets. Crouching in a bush will actually hide you from arcs. It may not always work if they're already aggroed on you, but can keep them from spotting you if they're just patrolling or investigating. You can actually see how tanky a player is by looking at how many prongs are sticking out from their shield. 1 prong is a light shield, 2 prongs is a medium shield, and 3 prongs is a heavy shield. It's rather hard to see the 3rd prong though unless you can see the enemy's back directly. Shields don't block 100% of incoming damage. They only block a portion of damage depending on the type of shield, so it's possible to die even though you have some shield charge remaining. Prioritize healing your health if it gets low, even if you still have a good amount of shield charge. You don't need to go into highly contested key locations to get good loot. There's tons of random loot spots scattered throughout the various maps that have incredibly high chances to have rare items or blueprints just sitting in random containers. The only downside is that you have to stumble upon them yourself unless you want to go to whichever spot is currently trending on social media, which ends up becoming a highly contested location. So if you ever hit something big, try to check that spot again in a future raid and see if you haven't found one of these random gold mines. And with that, I hope you guys have learned something from this video that will help you in your journey through Arc Raiders. If you guys found the video helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought of the video in the comments, or feel free to share some tips that you think will be useful to a new player out there. Good luck and happy raiding.